Hello everyone. You may already know the Eachine Goggles 2. They are pretty decent and they have good quality, they have good receiver part, they have good screen, but they have a big issue or a big flaw. They don't have a built-in DVR. That's not a very big issue because you can get one very cheap and install it very easily, and I'm going to show you how to do that. First, because I don't want to mess them up and don't want to destroy the polystyrene casing, I'm going to show you how to open them. There are plenty of reviews or guides of how to do that online, but I'm going to show you a slightly different way without cutting all the foam and ripping them apart, and without even breaking this padding here. You are just going to need a sharp cutter and you are going to make an incision just where this meets on the padding, so I can save the padding, and I'm just going to cut it here, and I'm going to do the same on this other part, just in the same place, and the padding is done there. I'm going to check here is also off, and now I'm just going to bend and move a bit, just like that, only with my hands, and you can see it has some spots of glue. It's not glued in all the places, so I'm just going to use the cutter and loosen up the glue a bit in that area. You just need to be careful not to get with the knife inside, because you can either poke some electronics and break them, or if you keep the fingers inside you can cut yourself pretty bad. For even more easy access, you can remove the bands very easy. You just push them inside a bit, and on the inside you get this small tubing which holds the band, and the same applies for all the others. So I'm going to take this one off also. Just going to push it from the outside until I can reach it from the inside. And this one is out. And one more left, and that's it, and I can take this off. Right, so now it's more even easy to just break this apart gently, piece by piece, and spot glue by spot glue, if we can call it that way. And now I have to work all the way around, and last but not least I need to remove these two nuts here that hold the antennas with the board on this case, but you are going to see that just in a moment. And there is a saying, use the force, and there it goes, and from this side here, and let's take it gently now. Let's see, the wires will stay there, and I think that I can remove this part. It's actually the lower part, and yep, that was the lower part. There's the lens. Guess what, my lens still had a protective plastic cover on it, and that explains a few things, that my vision was not very clear with them, and the protection foil was actually bigger than the screen, and it was not possible to take it off. Right, so this is the board and the receiver board. Now we have to take these two screws off, because we need to connect our DVR to the receiver board, and to the receiver board wires here, and we also need power from it to power our DVR. So let's take those antennas out. I'm going to use a small pliers, and it will come out because it needs to, and I'm going to be gentle until I can reach it with my hands, and then I'm just going to quickly be able to untwist it just like this. And there is also a washer, and the same for the other antenna port. Okay, so now I can lift the receiver board gently, and I also need to take the monitor out. I'm going to take them both up, and now I have enough access to work on this board. To connect the DVR, you're going to use 5 volts for power, ground, video in and video out. As you can see, video in and video out are in pairs because they use a video ground signal. That is not needed in all the cases. You can try just to use a video in and video out wire, and it may work. If you have weird things like artifacts and things like that and flickering image, you may need a ground. So I'm just going to connect the video in and video out directly without grounding them, and power from the board. And to get power and signal, you need to work on here. Let's see if the camera will focus. Hello camera, I want your focus. Let's see. Alright, now it should be okay. Let's see if I can get any closer than that. That's about it. Right, you have this missing plug here with 4 connectors with 4 holes in the board. First one is VCC, then is ground, and the other 2 I don't know what they are and I don't care. First one, the VCC, is a stabilized 5 volts output, especially made for my DVR because it uses 5 volts, and a ground. Also, you need to splice the video out of the receiver board that goes to the monitor, and that one is from this connector here, and it's not the first but second wire here. And as you can see, this wire, not the first, the second, counting from this part, so it's not the last, if you can say that. And this one needs to be cut, and this one coming from the plug will go to my DVR. The other video out from the DVR will go back to the spliced cable. it's now time for a quick test, so I'm going to power this on. I have taken into consideration not to touch any kind of wires here, to not create any kind of shortcut or things like that. And I'm going to connect the goggles battery. The DVR has a red light, and there it goes. I don't know if you can see, it says card error there, and it shows the DVR menu. And I'm going to power on one of my small quads here, and probably you can see something on the screen. It's the quadcopter, and I have image and a big card error on the screen because the DVR does not have a micro SD inserted. So the operation was successful, and now I have to put all the things back together. So I have inserted the boards back, including the lens. I also need to secure these two screws here, because I don't want them to fall back inside with the board, but I'm not going to make them too tight. I'm just going to install them so they hold on to something. And the DVR wires come through this vent hole here. The DVR will stick somewhere like this, and my DVR went on a trip downstairs, no problem with that. And then I'm going to glue this back together again. And now comes the fun part, where I'm going to glue this back. But before that, I'm just going to do one more test to see if all things are still in working order. And yes, there it goes. The DVR is working, and I have it on the screen. So now I'm going to shut this off. I'm going to use a bit of adhesive. I'm going to use just a few drops in a few spots. I'm not going to glue this all around, because maybe I want to upgrade it with something else in the future, and I want it to be easy to be taken apart again. I'm also going to take care with this power wire here, and a bit more here. Also, I want to pay attention not to put glue on the lens or on the monitor. Alright, so let's join them together. And that was it. It needs a few hours to settle, and there is no damage visible on the cover, and the glue residue will be cleaned after all this dries out. So no additional holes, no cutting, no cracking, no destroying the case. It was simple and effective. For this I'm just going to use double-sided velcro and install it on top here, and that was it. Now I have a working DVR on my goggles. See you.